Okay, let's move on about, okay, we did more or less the dinim of Sukkot. Now you have the Arba Minim, it's known as the Lulav and Etrog. Now, there's a lot of dinim, believe it or not, involved in making sure the Etrog is kosher, the Lulav is kosher, the Adasim, Arovis. It's a lot of dinim involved. First of all, one din, for instance, of an Etrog is, besides there's a lot of dinim, if it has black spots on it or different spots on it, the shape of the Etrog is very important. The cleanliness of the Etrog is very important, especially on the top third of the Etrog. But there's a lot of problems when you buy an Etrog. You have to make sure you're buying it from a proper place. Why? Because a grafted Etrog was called murkav, is not kosher. It has to be purebred Etrog. And Eretz Yisrael, obviously, they have hashgacha and all that. The problem with Eretz Yisrael dik esregim this year is a very big problem. In fact, many people that usually buy Israeli esregim this year don't buy Israeli esregim. Why? Because there's an issue with Shemitah. That doesn't mean you can't use an Etrog from Eretz Yisrael, but then officially you have to buy the Lulav, not the Etrog. You have to bring it back to Eretz Yisrael when you're done. I mean, there's a lot of dinim involved in the dinim just of an Etrog that comes from Eretz, or a Lulav for that matter, but even that, especially Etrog, because Etrog can come from Eretz Yisrael.
The base is down. You see the base? Oh,
there is no base. This is the base.
That's a good question. You're going to get a good answer.
It's not clear. Yeah, it's good. Okay, if a guy owns land in Eretz Yisrael, there's haterim which are not relied on, because a guy can't be mafkir the chiyuv of Eretz Yisrael just because he buys the land. So here's a heter mechira. There is a concept called heter mechira, but they basically don't rely on that. No. It's a very controversial halacha issue. Anyway, bottom line is it's not going to help. Okay? So even again, like we said, so people have to get, but usually this year they'll buy what's called Yanav Esregim. Yanav is basically Italian Esregim, which we know for sure is not what's called Murkav. I mean, you have to make sure it's not Murkav. And the advantage of why is Chabad very careful to use only Yanav Esregim, which is from southern Italy. So there's a few things. First of all, because it says in the Medrash that when Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, he was in the desert, you should take on the first day the Daled Minim. Now, where did they get an Etrog in the desert? Or Lulav, Adasim and Rav, where did they get it from? So it says in the Medrash that Moshe Rabbeinu sent a shliach on an eagle wing, Kamfin Yesharim, and they went to Italia Shel Yovan, which is really Italy, not Greece, and he got an Etrog from there. Why? So it's brought down because when Yitzchak blessed Esav, he said, Mishmane ha'aretz hiya meshevacha. It's going to be the best, the juiciest part of the world. So therefore, you want to be Mahadan, and that's the reason why Chabad uses Yanav and Esregim for Sukkot. But you have to make sure that you're buying it from a reliable place that's not going to sell you, mixed goods. There's a lot of issues with the Etrog. When you buy an Etrog, what should you be looking for? So there's the cleanliness of the Etrog is very important, especially the top of the Etrog. The Etrog has to be complete. For instance, if, let's say, an Etrog, on top it has the pitum, okay? Most of the Israeli Esregim all have pitums. Most of the Yanav Esregim don't. Some do. But if the pitum falls off completely, the Etrog is possible, because it's not a complete fruit anymore. It's lacking. It's missing in the fruits. It's not kosher. If an esrog has different colors on it, it's not kosher. If there's black spots on it, it's not kosher. So you have to know, first of all, some people are more machmir in what they emphasize most is the shape of the esrog. It should go up like a tower, whatever. And some people are more machmir in the cleanliness. Ideally, you should be machmir, if you can, on both. The cleanliness of the esrog, again, especially the top third, which has to be clean, and the shape of the esrog. The lulav, what's the inyan of a lulav? It's a palm branch, but it has to be complete on top. It's a very interesting story. The Rebbe used to give out esregim to certain people out of Sukkot. The Rebbe picked his own, and then there were certain people that got esregim. Some only got hadassim, some only got but some people got. So Rabbi Shmuel Levittin was an older chassid. He was the Rav in Bais Din. So he was looking at the esregim on the table, and he showed the Rebbe. He was very close. He was older than the Rebbe. And so he showed the Rebbe two esregim, and he asked the Rebbe which was nicer. So the Rebbe, without even looking, said, "This one has a pitum, take it." Without even looking, the Rebbe said, "Yeah, no, hat a pitum, nemtes." It has a pitum. But again, it doesn't make it. The Rebbe's esregim, generally speaking, had pitums, but the Rebbe used to have a few esregim. So in my times it happened a few times. Now it's now. I'm saying in the later years of the Rebbe, because literally thousands and thousands of people bench on the esrog. And Vina Shvi, you can't make, by the Rebbe's esrog, the guy was standing there. Years ago, the Rebbe stood there. In the earlier years. No, in the earlier years, every year. For a few years. Tavshin Nun Beis, the last year that the Rebbe, before the stroke, in Adar, so the Rebbe stood from 8 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The Rebbe was standing by the Lulav and esrog and watched everybody bench. But there were years when a lot of people benched, the pitum would fall off. So they had to get another esrog. Sometimes it had a pitum, sometimes it didn't have a pitum, the second esrog. But
How long could you hold it?
by the Rebbe? Yep. That's it.
If you do a Etrog in the morning and then you go to the Rebbe, you do a bracha again?
No. Once a day.
So the people wouldn't make the bracha in the morning?
They wouldn't do it in the morning. To the first bench on the Rebbe's esrog.
So you just hold it, you wouldn't say bracha.
You do. That's it. You say, put it together, that was it. There was no shaking. No shaking, that was it.
So how did they daven in the morning?
Huh?
When they did Alel and Hoshana?
So then what happened was, before Hallel, they would bring the Rebbe his Lulav and esrog, and they put it in, the Rebbe used it for Hallel. After davening, the Rebbe sent it back out. After davening, the Rebbe sent it back out again for people to bench on. And the last day of Shana Rabbah, after the men benched, then the women were allowed to come and bench on the Rebbe's Lulav. The women are not mochiv to do Lulav. They're not mochiv to do Sukkah. Technically, biblically, they're not mochiv to do Shofar either. But Shofar, it says in halacha, kiblo alai ben cheva, they accepted it as a mandatory thing, so nowadays they have a chiyuv to do it. But Lulav and esrog, by the Sfardim we learned they don't, women do it, but they don't make a bracha on it. Because according to the Rambam, you're not allowed to make a bracha. According to Bais Din, you're not allowed to make a bracha. So the Ashkenazim all hold that you do make a bracha, and that's why we paskin. So but that's the whole thing. But even in the previous Rebbe's time and the Rebbe Rashab's time, they didn't let any Chassidim do the Nanuim and the Rebbe's Lulav and esrog. Rabbi Yosef Shusterman one time wanted to do it I think with the Rebbe Rashab. And he asked the Rebbe because he was Bein Niftanya was a different. So he said, so the Rebbe said to him, people are going to be jealous, I can't let you do it. Sorry.
They didn't do it.
They didn't do it. They did later on, then you go somewhere else and you make a Yom Lulav and esrog.
So this wasn't just by the Rebbe. Every Rebbe let the
From the Rebbe Rashab for sure.
Alter Rebbe.
I don't know. I don't, probably not. But in fact, they asked the question. By us, we were Bachrim, and then for 2 years when I was still in New York, so the Rebbe had a beautiful big esrog. But after a few days, it turned brown from all the hands touching it. But in the later years, even when I was still there, the first day already it was. So somebody once asked, the Rebbe quoted this in a Sikha, so they would say a Polish Rebbe, a great Polish Rebbe was asked, why do you let people do it? You're going to ruin the esrog, the beauty of the esrog. So he said, what could be more beautiful than an esrog that so many Jews made a bracha on? What could be more beautiful than that? And the Rebbe quoted that in the Sikha a few times, that, there's no such thing more beautiful than that. What do you want? Machin so mai so mai kim shula ga hotel we gaan dan ook als je met later de bogen dat zo veel geven lang term